sure you'll see the significance of this information. This is not a class, this is a lecture for great seniors, and it will be a great deal take if you will be allowed to sell as you know the class. And this message should go out to every member of Grace Hill and to people at large so they can understand where they are in the greater picture, and that's what we're going to cover today. First thing I want to say is something that I've discussed with some of you already. Okay, well, the name of this lecture is The Power of We the People. Power of we the people. What power we as a people possess. What power do we possess? The reason I wrote it in black is because the power of the people is always a silent power. Just like the forces of the universe move, the planetary bodies move all the time. They're out there and they have influence on us constantly. But you don't hear Jupiter move. You don't really see Jupiter move. This Earth moves. You don't see it move. Do you hear it move? It's traveling at 67,000 miles an hour through space, and we do not hear a sound. So the most powerful forces of the universe move in silence. And this is also how we the people shall move. We shall move in silence. What do I mean? When we move in silence, this means no press interviews, no discussions with the news media at all from this point forward. If they approach us, our response is, Islam, have a good day. No news media at all. Is that understood? Power voice, move in silence. We shall write no books that shall be for major publications that has our name on it. We shall write no publications that have our name on it. When people have their various little publications and newspapers and newsletters and all those things, let them write about what they want. The truth, that is not the forum for the truth. The truth is too powerful for the masses. We cannot risk exposing profane people to absolute truth because it is a dangerous thing to do for us and for them. And when things begin to change for us, and they shall change very shortly, there's going to be a lot of light on us. A lot of people will be attracted to us. They're going to want to call us and talk to us on the phone and bend our ear whenever they see us out in public, out in the streets. They're going to want to talk to us about what we're doing and all the great things that are happening and how we should be doing this and who over there is doing that. And what is our response? Islam. Have a good day. We move in silence. Powerful forces move in silence. And the more powerful we become, the more silent we shall become. And this is one of the reasons that we've chosen to take the class tape, and we decided they shall not be for sale. There was a time when we were going to sell class tapes. This is the sacred order. Here's what we are. The sacred order of the great seal. All the things we know are not meant to be known by others, especially if they are forbidden. So I start you off with that, and I'll change it. Why are we here in this building? most of you don't know the history of Camden, but we managed to put together some historical information where we have the historical map of the original Camden village. And on that map, it shows the names of the streets as they were originally in Camden. So the current Delaware Avenue, is it Delaware Avenue?
Yeah.
In Camden was King Street. The next street over was Queen Street, and the next street over, which would have been Second Street, was Cedar, Cherry, something like that. But it moved like, and then Third Street, where our building is going to be, was Whitehall Square, which is where it will be again. We will put Whitehall Square back at 3rd and Market Street. And then the street substance were named Cherry, Pine, Cedar, the Plum, the Walnut, Chestnut, the Oak Woods. But what happened in Camden, the street names were changed when they wanted to take over and demoralize the sovereigns in Camden. So Camden is really East Philadelphia, because there is no east to Philadelphia, and that is Camden. Why are we in this building? First of all, this building is where? It's on Market Street. Between 4th and 5th. See that? This building is separate from the church, as I have explained to you before. This particular building, when you come in that red door outside and come into this building, you are not in the church. That hallway down there where we meet downstairs, and those restrooms are not the church. The church is a separate building. This is the rear of a mortgage building that once faced the south, where the front of it was the south, and this was the rear of that building. Now they tore down the front of the temple and put that parking lot out there. Then they built the front of it up into a church facing Market Street so that it would appear that this building is the rear of that church, and it is not. It is a separate building from the church. We are in an ancient Moorish temple. Okay? Now, we're in an ancient Moorish temple. And the church that they put on the front, what's the name of the church?
St. Paul.
Check this out. It's no accident. What I'm trying to show you is that it's no accident that we're in this building. We were guided divinely into this building. St. Paul, Episcopal, S-C-O. Now, let's do this. Who was Paul? He was an apostle. Which apostle? Which one? Out of 1 through 12, which one was he? He was the first, wasn't he? Fourth disciple. And he represents Aries, the first. What is an Episcopalian? What is Episcopal? We have Epi, which is equivalent to the all-seeing eye. The Epi is in the center and sees in all directions at the same time. That's what Epi is. The center that sees in all directions at once. That's powerful, isn't it? We have, I just want to use another color. I'll just use black. Why does it happen to be on Market Street, which is a street for trade? Why between 4th and 5th Street? Huh? And why is the name of the church that faces the front St. Paul's Episcopal? This is going to get a little deeper. Ares is the god of war. What kind of war are we fighting?
Paper war.
A paper war. The war is never physical with weapons. What kind of war is it? It is a paper war. It is a war on paper. What kind of paper?
Lawful paper.
Lawful papers. Court papers. People, from this ancient Moorish temple, we have waged war. We have waged a war. And that's what we're in. But the war was already there. We didn't know that the war was being waged against us. We didn't know who our enemy was. We didn't know what kind of weapons they were using. We didn't know how they were defeating us. All we knew was that we were being defeated. We knew that. We knew something was wrong. We're here, and we're constantly the ones going to jail. We're constantly the ones paying higher bills, just like you talked about paying higher electric bills in certain neighborhoods. We're constantly the ones not being able to get jobs. The last one's hired, the first one's fired, the first one's laid off. We're constantly the ones not getting the best grants, not getting into the best schools and all those things like that. We're the ones on the bottom rung of all these ladders. So there was a war being waged against us, and we couldn't see the enemy. We didn't know how to identify it. Where is our enemy then? First, let's say, who is the enemy? Then we'll say, where is the enemy? And then we'll say, what are his weapons? See, we have to know these things in a war. You can't win the war unless you know these three things, right? And once we've identified these things, we know how to begin. And that's why really what brings us here today. Who is the enemy? Corporations and their slaves. Where is the enemy? Everywhere. Everywhere in the world. What are his weapons? See, this was key. We once thought, we used to be taught, oh, the white man is the enemy. No, don't identify the enemy that way. You'll be misguided. Don't do that. Corporations and their slaves are the enemy. They're everywhere in the world. And what are his weapons? Huh? Codes and ordinances. Codes, ordinances, statutes, what else? Resolutions, somebody else said something. The judicial system, yeah.
What about the media?
Media,
That's up in the corporation.
huh?
That's up in the corporation.
No, when we say media, we mean the technology of the media.
How about acts?
Acts, biggest weapon. Don't tell them who they are, because if they never know, we got this in the bag. Lie to them. Miscommunication, propaganda. Surely if we lie to them, they'll believe us. And then if they believe us and somebody comes and tells them the truth, they'll never believe the truth. Where do they put the secrets and the lies?
Books.
Books,
Library.
schools, church,
Moving. Everywhere.
books, schools. What did you say? Church. When we say church, we mean temple, mosque, all of it. Huh?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. All of it. That's where it's told. And all of the other types of media, not just books, but all the types of media. Now, when they tell it, how do they tell it? In your face. It's right in your face, but yes, it's in censor. Hide it right in front of you. They hide it in things that you use and see every day. That's important. You have to hide it in your face.
You won't look for it.
Huh?
You don't look for it.
You don't look for it there. Just like you would never know what you look like unless you look in something and see your reflection. Unless you look in something and see your reflection, you have no idea what your face looks like. Everybody else does. Everybody else sees your face but you. So that's why in your face is the best place to hide anything. And we know all that. Who are you? That you are sovereign. Who are the people? People are a collective of individuals. And when you say individuals, when you say in divide, so you have the word divide and you say in divide, meaning cannot be divided. You are one unit, like the monad, you're indivisible. You can't be separated into two of anything, okay? You can't be separated. An individual, a collective of individuals as a body, coming together as a body. A collective of individuals who, not individuals that, individuals who govern themselves. That is a people. That is a people. Now that you know you are a people and the people are sovereign, you see why they identify you as persons. And that takes you out of this right here. You belong to the people. And the people, it is the people who are part and parcel. To the land. It is the people that cannot be separated from the soil from which they come. We're going to get a little bit deeper So you say you belong to a group of people who are sovereign. That makes you noble, are you? Let's see. Let's see. Do you fit the bill? Nobility in character. Is your character that of a noble? How would you describe a noble character? Does a noble walk around with their head looking down?
No.
A noble always walks with his head, her head up. Does a noble walk like they don't have a care in the world or whatever, lackadaisical attitude? No. A noble always walks and is cognizant of his or her environment. Always. I've often said to my brother, I said, well, you can tell when somebody is emotionally unstable, when somebody doesn't have something going on up here. How do you know? They walk and they sit with their head slightly tilted. So don't do that. When you walk and when you sit, especially when you're out in public, sit with your head erect. Don't sit with your head tilted to the side, even if you're thinking. You sit, you walk, and you stand with your head erect at all times, because people who observe these things know that when they see you with your head tilted, you're not thinking, because you can't think with your head tilted. Your head must be erect at all times. Have you ever thought about it? Say, for example, and maybe this affects women. Women would know this more than men, okay, unless the man does hair. Now, when you're doing somebody's hair, you can stand behind them and part their hair right down the middle.
Yeah.
It's fairly easy to do. You don't have to keep looking from side to side to see, did I get it? It's a part in the middle. You can relatively stand behind someone or in front of them and part their hair down the middle.
Right.
First, animals can't do that. Did you know that? Animals have to keep readjusting the part because animals can't, they're not centered. They're not centered. If you're centered, you can part hair down the middle. It's a simple thing. As I was saying the other night, how do you tell, and Erica's going to do Yaku 3 for you, it's coming up. How do you tell man from animal? But sometimes the distinction is the line is very narrow, and when you're out there dealing, you have to know who's a man and who's an animal. So we're going to teach you how to identify them on the spot. When you see them in talking, when you see them on television, when you see them anywhere, you're going to be able to identify who's man, who's animal. You don't know that yet. I'm going to show you how to do that. That's important. Are you noble in character? Do you sit around and idly gossip about all kinds of things that make no sense, that are not important? There's no place for that. Do you take advantage of other people for your own gain? That's not noble character. That's not noble character. Do you go around and take things that don't belong to you? Is that noble? That's not noble. Having your rights, noble in rights, your rights and inheritance. Just because you are a Moor by right, and I'm going to make this very clear. If you do not have the character that goes along with it, don't call yourself a Moor. Don't call yourself a Moor. Don't even use the title. One of the most important things, how you know what separates you from the profane, is your knowledge. Knowledge of what? If you do not know the science of Islam, do not call yourself a noble. The two go together. You cannot say you're noble and carry that title unless you know the science of Islam. Do not call yourself a Moorish American and say you know the science of Islam. The two don't go together and call yourself a noble. They don't go together. Don't go out and try to steal cars or whatever that is that people are doing and come up with all these nonsensical corporate ideas to get money. That is not noble in character, and it proves that you don't know Islam. If you attend a religious institution on a regular basis, it does not take you away from Islam. Don't use that as criteria because somebody goes to church. Plenty of people go to church. People may continue to go to mosque or a temple, but it's what you know inside, not where you go. It's what do you carry where you go, because your temple is with you always. Nobody can say, come join my temple, come join my church. You can participate, you can give them money if you want to. You give them money, why? Because you like the things they're doing for the community. You give them money because you like the program they have for children or the elderly or something like that. It's all right to donate money to causes that you deem worthy. It does not make them noble that you gave to them. It does not mean they have to know the science of Islam. Don't use that as a criteria in places where you put your money and spend your time. Because what you are supposed to do as a noble individual is to put the science and the light wherever you go. That is your duty. It is your obligation to the city. You are the light. And the light emanates from inside of you. So don't say, I'm not going to go there because they don't have any light. Go there. Put the light there where you are. But if they refuse it, then you need to leave it. But if don't use that and say, well, they don't have any light, so I'm not going to go around them. I'm not going to do that. Put yourself there. Any instance where you put yourself in the midst where there's darkness and you bring light, at least there's not as much darkness as there once was. And it's up to those individuals because you don't know who you may change. And in all likelihood, you change them all by something you said and truly merely being there. Power. We say a people should have power. And sure, they should. Why should they have power? By right? By this divine birthright inheritance? Should somebody have the right to have power? Right to power is not conferred by being right in your position. You can know what you're talking about and all of that. It does not make you powerful to be right or to have right. So right alone do not imply power. Rights alone, I should put an S here. Rights alone do not imply power. What else must you have? You want power? Certainly, you must have the ability. Do you have the ability to exert power? Not just do you have the right to it, do you have the ability to exert it? Do you? How do you know if you have it, if you have that ability or not? Does it matter how big you are as an individual, whether you have the ability to exert power? Some of the most powerful men in the world have been merely this tall. Very small individuals. But they have exerted tremendous power over the world. Authority. You must be vested with the authority in order to exact power. Let me finish with this. The ability is internal. to do this or to do that. And how is that vested? With elections. This is why we've had elections and why elections are important. So that you can be vested with the people, so the people can back you up. If you step out there and say, oh, well, I'm on the Royal Assembly for Great Seal and I represent this position, and somebody will say, well, prove it. Who else says that besides you? You understand what I'm saying? Who else is going to affirm for you? Let's say, for myself, somebody says, well, how did you get to be queen? Who designated you queen? Did I start calling myself that? No. Other people started calling me that for a couple of years before I even felt comfortable to say it. First. Positive comatop. It wasn't a formal election, which we subsequently had, but it was implied by the people constantly calling me that and asking me to act in that capacity in terms of representing them in all these different matters. People started calling me that.
But they saw your ability.
This part, that was inside.
Right.
It had to get out.
It had to be manifested.
Inside. Right.
And
What?
first and foremost, they said that you'd already projected that when they said it. They saw you as what you were before you saw yourself, because you carried yourself like a queen long before they called you. And I'm sure of that, because you cannot call anyone anything unless you've seen what they really are.
Now, after you're vested with the authority, do you take the action? You cannot say that you have power unless you act it out. Power must be exerted. It is a force, and it does not manifest unless it is moved. The wind doesn't knock down a tree or blow a flower unless it is moved. And then you see the result of the force of the wind, because you see the tree fall down or the petals on the flower bristle. You know there is a wind. But you cannot see it, and you never hear it. And you think, oh, I hear the wind. No, you don't. You hear the effect of the wind on the shingles on the roof. You hear the trees when it falls, but you do not hear the wind. It is one of the most powerful forces in this planet. Now, you say you hear water. Water is very powerful. What do you hear? You hear the friction of it operating against the air. You don't hear the water. People can drown in a still body of water, and they drown, and the water makes not sound. Action is external. We observe the action, the physical action, the physical and mental action of power. Unless you have these four, which represent a square, you do not have any power. You do not need money to have power. You do not need a fabulous house and fine cars and expensive clothes to have power. You do not ever need to speak a word. You can be blind and have power. You can be deaf and have power. Do you have these four things? Power is to be exerted. Power to succeed must be exerted in positive fashion. Power to succeed must be exerted, and in this instance, what we're talking about, in positive law. How do you know when a law is positive as opposed to when a law is negative? Huh? law is for all people. All people. For the benefit of all people. And actually, negative law, I'm going to write this in black. Negative law is against all people. So in other words, negative law is against sovereignty. It is against sovereignty. When you elect, when you go and register your vote, and you elect someone to have power of attorney over your vote, that is negative law. That is against the sovereignty of the people. Because you did not vote for yourself. That wasn't your hand that pulled that ballot. You allowed somebody else. You gave an opinion. You went to the polls and gave an opinion poll, but you did not vote. You gave that power away. That is negative law. Positive law is when you vote for yourself. 5. That's something to say about it. This is a Latin verse I found. I want to put it here. I'll write it in green. So, Vigilantibus, Domientibus, Jura,
That's Latin.
Subvenius. Yes, Latin. Vigilantibus, Domientibus, Jura, Subvenius. What does that mean? The law assists those who are diligent, not those who sleep over their rights. The laws assist those who are diligent, not those who sleep over their rights. This is why we must be diligent no matter what the obstacles. We must pull together, stay together to exert our rights as a collective body so that we can say, yes, we are.
You think
It's diligent. I spelled it wrong?
No.
I did hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. The laws assist those who are diligent, not those who sleep over their rights. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That is an ancient maxim of law. Power, how? How should we exert this power?
So, each and every one of us have to have a noble title and an office, an elected office. all of the four things for power, because we have the right, because our noble title gives us the title to the right.
This is your noble title, right?
Okay, now,
The science of Islam gives you internal disability.
okay,
The elections give you the authority.
okay,
And our collective working together is what we put in action.
got it.
We put the things in action,
I understand.
things that we're doing.
Okay,
This is what is making us powerful.
right,
Although it appears we're in this church, we're in this building, right? It's not fancy, it's rather run down. There's not even a sign out front that says we're in here.
right,
There's no sign, there's no media coverage, there's no advertising in the newspaper or on the radio to say, come to our meeting. There's none of that. It's in silence because the ancestors and the Elohim have worked and made it that way, whether we wanted it that way or not. Someone asked me the other day, are you on the internet? No, and we will never be. What may end up being on the internet is those who write about us, but we shall never be.
My thinking is the study of the hand and the study of the locus, how we band together and actually accomplish the mission.
Yes,
You don't hear the noise,
right.
but you see the unity.
Yes.
And you see what they do.
You see what they do. And our power will be seen manifest out there in the world, and no one will know where it's coming from.
these operate on that same principle. They have a
No one will know that we're the power behind all these new construction projects we're going to do. No one's going to know that we're behind the power of this newfound economic boom in the United States. No one's going to know that we're behind the improvement in the health of people around the world and the food production and what they eat and how they eat, how they take care of themselves, the longevity. No one's going to know that our little group is behind that. But we will be.
Right.
And when you pay attention to the news media, you see the effects of what we do in this little place right here, just a handful of us. You see the effects of what we do manifest out there in the world. And people don't need to know. And that is how we live. That's our power.
When you say we're in silence, but at the same time, we're not in secrecy.
We're not in secrecy to those who come to the light.
Right.
But we're in secrecy to the profane.
Of course.
Because we're right in their face and they still can never see us. We'll walk down the street with our vests on and they won't see who and what we are. They won't realize that, wait a minute, they're responsible for, these corporations not running our lives anymore. They won't know that. So to them it's a secret. Even though if they were to ask us, we tell them. But most people won't ask.
They're not even going to formulate the question.
Right. But again, what I mean in secrecy, in silence, is that we won't go out to the media. We won't talk to them. Even no matter how much they want to talk to us, we will never, ever talk to them.
Islam has a nice day.
Long term, have a good day.
And then also, in my understanding, would include anyone who's around
Can't
us.
hear you.
I think that would, in my mind, would also include anyone who's around us, even though we're friends or whatever, but they're still profane. So we don't sit and tell them anything that we wouldn't, they're not big seals. So you
Right.
have to hold that conversation with the meeting.
Right. If they want to know, come to class.
Right.
Don't sit and have discourse with them. Even the people, and there are lots of people out there who want to know what we're doing. They're begging to know so that they can take their criminal mind and put it to work with what we know. They're constantly trying to steal the things, huh?
I'm saying, the profane Great Seal members that have broken away and doing
Yes.
what they're doing.
Yes.
In essence, they have helped us Without even knowing.
without even knowing.
Without even knowing.
That's right, because everything needs its dark side.
Right.
All right. Your rights. Talk about your rights. These are your rights as a people, as individuals.
Mine too.
Yours too. There are two types of rights that you have. You have over here your protected rights. And these rights are put in place to prevent things from happening to you. So they are prevented. There's another kind of rights that you have, and those are what we call your remedial rights, so that you have remedies. I'm going to write small so I can get all of this on one page, and then we'll have to do it all over. And here is your reparations. Now, you have rights that protect you and prevent things from happening to you. And in the event there's a gap there or something happens, you have remedial rights. So you have rights that are put in place so that you can be made whole, so that there can be restoration, just compensation to you if by chance your rights are violated. So you have two ways of dealing with it. Okay? And now let's list some of the rights that you have, because we know about the rights that are listed in the Constitution. And you know you have the right to life, liberty, privacy. And the reason I'm listing some of these is because in the Bill of Rights it says that there are certain rights that are specifically addressed in this Bill of Rights. However, they do not include all of your rights, because you have a whole host of rights which cannot even begin to be listed in this document. You have a right to a good reputation. You have the right to marry. To own property. You have the right to self-government. You have the right of what's called survivorship. This is where inheritance comes in. You have the right of redemption, or anything that was taken to you. You have the right, taken from you. You have the right to get it back. You have the right to work, travel. You have the right to petition. You have the right to peaceful enjoyment. And there are a whole bunch of other rights there. But I just wanted to list a few. I wanted to talk about. The right to life means life. Who has the decision over life and death? The tongue?
No.
Allah?
Yeah.
In this plane, who is the manifest being who has the right to life or death? Who holds that right?
The mother.
The mother.
The mother along with the individual itself.
The mother. The mother.
Mother holds the right to life because woman, right, decides who gets to be here.
Right.
She holds that in her hand. Who gets the beach here? It's her choice. Let's go a little bit deeper. Specifically, whose choice is it? The right to life on this plane.
More importantly,
Decides who in the whole world gets to live or die. She decides who should come here and who should not. And that once you leave here, do you get to go anyplace else? She gives you that choice. Because she is the vehicle through which all life can manifest. And she decides that when you leave this plane, you can't manifest physically in another plane. Guess what? You won't get there.
and that's where you get the most grotesque forms of marriage.
That's right, or they don't get here at all. The ancestor said to me when I said, what can I do about all these people out here doing these things to me? They don't want me to work. They don't want me to have any revenue. They don't want me to have any place to live. They don't want my children to go to school. They don't want this. They don't want that. They don't want me to have any transportation. All these evil forces working against me. Why? Because I choose to do this. And I want you to know that we, Elric, Don, and myself, and Wilda, 3-4 years ago, made the conscious decision to do this and not our profession, which we could make a lot of money and have a very decent living doing that if we so choose. Even at this time. Even at this time, I could go out and make a $6-figure salary easy. We could go out and start doing contracts, multi-million-dollar contracts, like we used to do. All right? And I'm not prepared to discuss it here, but I'm going to, because I know that they didn't give you their full bio when it came time for the election. And maybe they need to do that. But you haven't heard mine. And once you hear, and I will be factual, I won't be egotistical, and I will tell you the things that I have done in my life, in my professional career. And some of you are going to be shocked to say, well, people don't want to take this path because we don't appear to have anything going on, or we don't appear to have all the material trappings of wealth and that a good education should afford you. Now, we've had all.
Yes. And some want to say you're not serious enough about it.
I'm not serious.
Some want to say that.
Okay. Where's the money? If you know so much, how come you're not rich from all this stuff you know? I've been rich.
Okay.
And you still are.
And I'm still rich. I've had material things.
But my thing is that when you start hearing this information, the richness and everything is there, all of that will come. But it's something inside of you that you feel.
Yeah.
The first time I heard you speak, I didn't know anything about benefits, but I knew from my spirit that confirmed it that I should be here and you should be here. I didn't know till almost a year later that about the benefits.
Okay.
And I stuck with it.
Okay.
Because I knew. So it's not you, that's going to come.
That is going to come.
All that's going to come.
I equate it to this. All of us were on a different ladder. There was this ladder, which is the corporate ladder, and there's this ladder, which is the sovereign ladder. Now, you're over here on the corporate ladder, everybody's on it. Everybody's moving, they're shoving, kicking, boom, get back. I want to move up higher on this ladder. And if they have to kill you to do it, fine. You see some people falling down to the abyss. You don't know how they happen to fall. You're just glad you're not one of them. And you keep fighting, struggling to get up that ladder, right? And you look over there and say, wow, that's a gorgeous ladder over there. But I don't know anything about it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know why it's there. I don't know how it got there. I don't see anybody on it. Why should I want to be over there? Nobody's on that ladder. Then all of a sudden, a little bird, right, sings in your ear. Wow, let me test the waters over there. Because here's what happens. You start getting closer and closer up to the top of that ladder, the more treacherous it becomes, the more weapons people have to kill you and get rid of you. And then there's all this glass ceiling up there that you can't see. You keep bumping your head against it, and you don't know what it is. All you know is that you keep hitting it. Okay? Then you might hit it, get a little bit further. Hit it, get a little bit further. Let me try something else. But how do you get on the sovereign ladder? You can't jump across ladders. You can't do it. You have to come what? All the way back there. So finally we got all the way down to ground zero. Then we walked across the checkerboard floor, black and white checkerboard, you know what I'm talking about, a checkerboard. We walked across that floor and we started to slowly go up that sovereign ladder. Now we look across and we look at all those fools clamoring to get to the top of that corporate ladder, and they don't even know that there's a glass ceiling up there. And they'll never. We're on this side, we're on this ladder. True, there's not many. I happened to overhear Barbara Walters, a repeat of Barbara Walters' interview with the Shah of Iran. I thought that was very interesting. What they said is that he wasn't accustomed to being interviewed by a woman who was so direct to ask him questions, and he was being evasive. This man is a sovereign. Why does he need to even answer her? He's not being evasive. He's only telling her what she needs to know. He knows plenty more than what he's telling her. Otherwise, he wouldn't be the sovereign somewhere. Okay? Now, I just wanted to share that story with you, the track that we're on. So, you have rights that need to be protected. How are your rights then going to be protected? I have another little saying here. I asked my grandmother, where is justice for us? And she told me, justice is not in the head. Justice is nature. So this one is Latin, and it says, actio personale moritur cum persona. In other words, a personal right of action dies with the person. Actio persona, what is that? Personally, moritur cum persona. A personal right of action dies with the person. So for all the trauma and all the tragedy and the drama and all of the sympathy you may have for the ancestors and all the things that happened to our ancestors, we cannot go back and right a wrong that was done to them. We can't do it. That is not our place, and it obviously is not right at law. This is another maximum law. You can't go back and collect money that was owed to them back then. It's not there, first of all. What do we do for ourselves now, and what do we do for the future? That's what we're concerned with at this time. Not try to go back, as some people are saying, reparations for slavery? Are you kidding?
Right, you're still a slave.
You're still a slave.
Right.
Right. Still a slave and getting reparations and don't even recognize it. So, we're not going back in time to deal with all those issues. We don't need to waste our energy there, back there. That's what everybody's doing, going back to Africa. Everybody wants to go back and do research on what happened to the ancestors and how we're going to, and base their court cases and all their information, all their discussion on what happened to the ancestors. The ancestors had to fend for themselves. And one thing we know is that in us is the DNA. So we don't need to go out there looking for what happened to them. What happened to them is in us right now. It's manifesting us right now. It's what brought us here at this moment in time. So we already know what happened to them. And what happened to our ancestors, for those of us who are here in the light, was different than what happened to those ancestors back then. Because guess what your ancestors back then did for you? They put things in place. They laid a path. We don't have to create anything new. All we have to do is put the It's there, trust me, it's there. All we have to do is keep chopping away the weeds and the tangled jungle that has grown over it and hidden the path, but the path is there. So, yes, like this. Now, we are on a path, as Elric always says, spirit forward. We are not looking back. Don't hesitate, because you will be breathing our dust. You will be breathing our dust. We, right here, we're not looking back to try to collect any of that or any of that back stuff that was done. So be it. We're moving forward now. Now, anybody who considers themselves our enemy has put themselves in a very precarious and dangerous position. Because everybody wants to look to the past and say, and then that's their remedy. They say, well, we didn't do that. We shouldn't be held responsible for what our ancestors did to you in slavery or whatever else that may be. Now, we're going to say, fine, that is perfect for us. Because where we are here and now, we don't care what you accumulated as a result of your ancestors. What do you have now that belongs to us?
Right.
Right. It's ours now, not how you got it or anything like that. Let's not go back, because now when we start moving forward like this, all the other people are going to want to go back in time and say, well, let's go back and pay you for that. Let's go back and pay you for this. Okay? So we can keep what we've got. No. What do you have now that belongs to me? And the fact of the matter is, and at law, once it's yours, it's always yours, no matter how long somebody else used it. No matter how long they've had it in their possession, it does not make it theirs. Okay.
You know what, I was always do things when you be talking. You go back and you listen to the quote historians, and they always say, well, next war will not be fought with weapons, it's going to be fought with paper.
All the wars have been fought.
No, but I'm saying, you know what they projected. Maybe the papers that they were talking about are our documents.
That's what they're talking
You know
about.
what I'm saying? So not knowing, you thinking it's a piece of paper, money.
Yes.
That's what you think is about, is some kind of money or something. And it looks like we're in a war, and we're just in a war with just the documents that we carry and the documents that we constantly keep.
And
taking
we are
back.
winning the
Oh,
war
yeah.
every day. Every day. So, say you're sovereign. I'm going to try to do this on this last bit right here. I think I can do it. Sovereignty. Sovereignty is a state, just like slavery, a state of mind. If you do not come from woman, it is not possible for you to have the state of mind that is sovereignty. Animals are not sovereign, so don't mix the two together. Animals can't begin to discuss sovereignty. They can't recognize it, even if you spell it and put it right in front of them. They don't know what it is, okay? So let's not get into that argument. Sovereignty is a state of mind for a man. Only man can exercise sovereignty or be sovereign. Sovereignty resides in the people. The sovereign acts in individuals. You have to have individuals acting for the people. The purpose of sovereignty, why does sovereignty even exist? Why have it? It is for the explicit. It only has one purpose. Explicit and single purpose. It's you're so high and mighty and this and that, you're sovereign. They've lost it. Then the Albions will say to me, oh, well, you have the nerve to call yourself a queen, what, this and that. They don't even know what the word means. And I'm going to share something with you. Just let me break this up for a minute. Just share this. As I said it to you, but I don't know this part. I'll just start here. What is a king? Is it a king is a sovereign? Is he?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Huh? A king is a sovereign. All right, so Glenn, why not?
Because you don't spell a word, you don't spell a noun with ing.
Is this a noun? Most people think king is a noun. So if they think the word king is a noun, right there they don't know what king is. Because it's not a noun. Because it's in censor. And the word is king. And all they've done is take the E and the Y out. But if you say king, it's a verb. People think the word queen is a noun. It is not. It too is a verb. Like I cue you to come on stage.
Yeah.
I cue you to say your part.
Okay.
Cue you. When you get the papers of the Magna Carta, and you explain the queen is the one who speaks with, is the people who are speaking. Yes.
Not the person, but
That's
the
right.
people talking from the product.
That's right.
And the same thing that you said about king.
That's right.
So this is all in line with the same thing.
Because they are acting, they are taking action. Remember I said power? Now watch this, how it ties them together. How? Power. The king and the queen, this is the action. They are the action that is happening here. It's external, physical, and mental. This is your king and your queen here. You vest the authority in a physical being, but the physical being is the one who's carrying out the action of keying, the action of queuing. And that's where the power is coming from. Are you with me? See that important little secret? See why if you can't read Censor, you don't know what the hell is going on. You don't. But you do now. Sovereignty is natural born forever. You're born with it and you have it forever. Sovereignty is not something that you it ever leaves you. As they say, the king never dies, the queen never dies, the sovereign never dies. How is that you have a king who never dies? It's the people, because it's an action, so the action never dies. The action may have all these other corporate layers on top of it, but the action resides beneath all of it. It is the foundation over which all the statutes, codes, resolutions, ordinances, blah, 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 are founded. It is forever.
So in essence, you replace the queen that was before your time.
That's correct. It's forever.
So to say that you had a name correction in 99, that still doesn't mean that you were that person, that corrected person all the time anyway.
You were that individual anyway, even though you were not called that or known as that. You've been sovereign all along.
You don't recognize that Naturalization is here.
Is here. That is correct.
Same thing.
Same country. Naturalization is not a man.
Right.
Is not a man.
Right.
And all those photographs, and I don't care what photographs you've seen of Naturalization, come on now.
Right. They got different ones.
They got different ones. Whatever. Yeah.
After that George Washington monument, that was more than the
George Washington and the monument.
Yeah,
How many different photographs and
Oh.
pictures have you seen of Benjamin Franklin?
Yes.
I mean, the man just, oh my goodness.
Fantastic.
It's incredible, huh?
But, I mean, for us to see it that day, here's one here, here's another one here. 4 of them, and everybody looks different.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Individual.
Now, there is a way that an individual can be naturalized. What is it to be naturalized? It means that you weren't born a sovereign. So that if your mother was a sovereign, you were born a sovereign, right?
Right.
But what if your mother is not a sovereign and your father is? You have the possibility of being naturalized into sovereignty. We have that power to bring someone in who has a father who is a Moor, but their mother is not. We have that power, right? A naturalized individual does not have the same rights as one natural born a Moor. And we, in our task, must distinguish between the two. However, if a naturalized individual marries and has a child by a natural born Moor, that child, Moor woman, that child will be natural born. Do you understand? We must protect it very carefully. Land ownership is not personal if you are a sovereign. This is why when we talk about the land issue, we can't go out and say, this is my building, this is this, and I want this one, and that's mine, this and that. Land ownership resides in the people, acting through individuals elected who are authorized to carry out certain actions on behalf of people. Sovereignty resides in law, not statute. And you know what I mean. The whole body of all that other corporate power. With sovereignty, with the advantages come burdens. There's a burden. Advantages bring burdens. What is the burden? There's lots of responsibility in sovereignty. Lots of responsibility in sovereignty. You have the power to decide what means to be on this planet and what means don't. There's a responsibility in that. Because for the ones you bring here, you know, when they do things that are not becoming, then you're responsible for that. Because you brought them. They're not becoming.
I just wanted to add, just like you said, that we can't go back and be responsible for anything that the ancestors did when you're asking for reparations. Just like you can't go back and do that. Then, that statement was made about what happens once we bring them here.
Yes.
Okay, does that still hold true? For where
where we are here and now.
Okay.
That's why we are responsible to correct the here and now. That's why we have the obligation and we have the right. We have the right to change the here and now and create the future because of this responsibility. Not going back to correct. From this point forward, it's like the dish is already broken. What are you going to do? Try to put all the little sticky pieces back together? No. You can't go back and do that. Now you must, if you want say the dish was a masterpiece and you want a masterpiece, that one's broken. What do you have to do? You have to create another masterpiece. And that's what we are doing. And don't put a time limit on a masterpiece. It takes as long as what? It takes. Till you get it right. And how do you know it's right? Because when it's done, you'll know it inside. Because it'll work. This is done. It's finished.
Right.
I was thinking about, go ahead, Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty.
Yeah, and the couldn't back.
Velveteen.
Could not put it.
All the king's horses and all the kings, no matter how many keys they had, they couldn't do it.
So, Humpty Dumpty represents the sovereign?
No, Humpty Dumpty represents all those things that went wrong, that you didn't like, all those tragedies, all that trauma, all that drama, all those things that weren't done properly. You know,
King and Queen couldn't put it back together.
can't put it.
Exactly.
That's what she's saying.
What was yesterday, yes.
Yeah, still no.
You always prophesy.
I'm sorry.
I said you always prophesy the experience.
That's what we're doing.
But to some extent, are we reaping the karma for bringing this into being?
We have
We have had.
reached the karma.
Right.
For a long time.
It is over.
It's over now.
It is finished.
Right.
We are back. We are on the rise, and we will run this government here in the United States. And we will run Great Seal, and we will select body of us rule the world in silence. We will.
So more than big.
So that's our responsibility, and I want to just say to you, this last maxim, done in writing right here. Maybe I'll write it in green right there. Maybe, I don't know, just color black maybe.
Black.
It should be red, but I'm just going to write it in black because I think you'll be able to read it better on this right here. Maxime, Tese, Sunt, Contraria, et Injuria. Huh?
Whatever you say.
Right.
Contraria. It means the greatest enemies to peace are force and wrong. The greatest enemies to peace are force and wrong. Did you force someone to do something that they really didn't want to do or should not do? And were you wrong in what you were asking? Force and wrong are the greatest enemies to peace. And this will be our maxim of law as we rule Great Seal, any Great Seal. We will not force ourselves onto anyone, and we will not commit any wrong to get them to do even the right thing. And we will have peace in this land and around the world because of what we do. Now, I have a test. Are you ready to take a test?
Yep, always ready to go.
Well said.
Are you the one? Are you the one to exert this power inside? Are you? You know inside if you are. And if you are, you should be able to stand when I point to you and say, Islam, I am the one.
Salam, I am.
And you are.
That will matter.
Islam, I am not Ani-Yun-Wiya, Marcel,
Islam, I am the one. I am Claire or Brianna Braun Ali.
Islam, I am Remedial Rights, and I am the one.
Islam, just talking to what you said. I am the one. Islam, I am Remedial Rights, and I am the one.
Islam, I am all Episcopal Discipleship, and I am the one.
Islam,
Pay attention.
I am Alhambra Bey, business and sovereign more. I am the one.
Islam, I am Omar Bey Ali, and I am the one. Islam, I am Fraternal Sleep Ali Bey.
Islam, I am Petrus Orlando Vallahra Bey, and I am the one.
Islam, I am Ishmael Al-Mansur Ali. I am the one and only.
Islam, I am Latinde Ash'ar Akama Har'el, and I am the one.
I am the one. I am Sarah Althea Moore Ali.
Islam, I am Rayman Alex Wasi Ali, and I am the one.
I am Eleanor Mackenzie Braun Ali. Yes, I am the one.
Islam, I am the one. I am Eddie Thomas.
Islam, I am Ali Dani Alhambra Bey, and I am the one.
Islam, I am Deborah Leah Red El Sampson Day, I am the one.
Islam, I am Alina and I am the one.
I am Jamal Dey Bennett Ali. I am the one.
Islam, I am Jill Mohan Bilal Jill Bey Abdullah, servant of Allah, Al-Haji, on the path of Allah. I am the one.
Bey. I am the living widow, and I am
All right.
I got everybody.
Everybody.
The layer?
You ain't got the look. You better put it on. You got the look.
Okay. I got everybody.
This is nobody.
This concludes my presentation on the power of we people. I know that we all are collectively. It is us, and it is now. It is us, and it is now. It is our responsibility, it is our duty, it is our obligation to raise this people, to run this government in this United States. That runs the rule. It is all of us together. And without any one of us, it cannot be.
Islam.
Can we have a little Q&A session?
Q&A?
Yeah.
While we eat.
While we eat.
While